So for our next lesson on GCSE Sociology Basics, we're looking at the nature versus nurture argument within the social sciences, within science generally. So I can recall the details of the argument, understand and assess this concept. The key words are controversy. If something's an argument that's not settled, it's a controversy. Everybody agrees 2 plus 2 is 4. That's not controversial. Nature versus nurture is a controversy. People don't agree. In red here are some of the words that natural scientists, biology, DNA, genetics, inherited traits, behavior, innate. Certain scientists say human behavior is based on this stuff. Sociologists, we agree with these words here in blue. Upbringing, culture, socialization, environment, plastic, absolute, complex. We don't think in sociology you are born behaving a certain way. We think your upbringing by your family, which we call socialization, you learn your culture and you behave in certain ways based on what the world is like around you as you grow up. That's your environment. Human behavior is plastic. That means it can be bent and shaped. So first off, as a revision, culture, the quiz is these 5 words based on quite a few of the previous lessons. Read them, answer them. If they know the answers, look at the previous 4 lessons. So, the basic argument here. Some scientists think we know how to behave from birth, meaning instincts. Bees don't learn anything. Bees know how to behave. Some scientists think that humans are the same. Sociologists think this is rubbish. We have to learn how to behave. Different groups of humans behave in different ways, not because of their DNA, their genetics, not because they're born that way, because their culture is different. In more detail here, the natural science view, biology, thinks we do things because it's in our DNA. It is genetic. They might say, look, intelligence. You are born intelligent or you are born stupid, they would say. And you can't help that. It's in your DNA. You've got those, you've inherited those from your parents. Some truth in that, but not really, we'd say in sociology. And natural science would say, well, little girls push chairs because it's an instinct to look after babies. Boys want to build things, it's an instinct. That's the natural science view. This is inborn. You don't teach these things, they know how to do them like an instinct. Sociology, social science says, no, that's not true. They'd say little girls pushing prams, little boys playing with toolkits, they've learnt that's normal in their culture. Intelligence is mostly about the education you receive, not how brainy you are. And to prove this, we look at 3 things. 1, anthropology. That means cultures all around the world. If human behavior was an instinct, we'd all behave the same way, and yet we look around the world and we all behave differently. Yeah? Bees are the same all over the world. We behave differently. History. If human behavior was an instinct, we wouldn't really have changed much over time, but we have changed massively over time. The example I like to use is Shakespeare plays. Shakespeare plays are written in English, and yet when you do them in school, you can barely understand them because the English language has changed in the last 500 years. And finally, the most popular reason we have, the most popular thing that comes up in exams is the feral child. An example is Oksana Malaya, a child who's been abandoned by their parents, abandoned by humans, and raised by children, by animals. That's the feral bit. A child that is raised by animals behaves like the animal. So behaving like a human is not an instinct. You learn it, and we'll look at some videos in class. Now, This is a live argument. It's gone back and forth over the last 150 years. Geneticists, biologists say, no, we're born that way. Social scientists say, no, you're wrong, we learn it. Back and forth. The current view, right now, it's a bit in between. We'd certainly say human behaviour is 75% nurture. 75% of the way we behave is to do with the way we've been brought up, what we've learned. But about 25% is to do with nature, your instinct, genetics. The example we use in class, we'll watch a video on this bloke, Jim Fallon. He's a genetic scientist. He discovered the warrior gene, which he thought made people violent. So psychopaths in prison for violence, it's not their fault, they're born that way. But then he discovered he had the gene, but he wasn't violent because he'd been brought up properly. So it's a bit of both, a bit in the middle.